as you write your methodology, I want you to pay careful attention to the samples that I've put up in Blackboard, because I'm very particular about how methodology is written. I really like to know that you have planned thoroughly. I want to know, here's your sampling system. I don't want to just hear, I will go get 200 people. I want to know how you're going to get those 200 people. And I want it to be a plan that makes sense for what you're trying to study. And you can use the sampling chapter to help you write that piece. When it comes to instrumentation, I don't want you to just say, I'm going to use the Early Childhood Environment Rating Scale. I want you to tell me what the measure is, what the items look like on that measure, what the validity and reliability information are about that measure, that the people who developed it have already tested and run. I want to know what items look like, and I want to know how you're going to use those items. So how will you operationalize your variables? If you are looking at global quality, well, where does that come from? Is it an average of all the subscales? I want to know how you're coming up with the things you're going to put in the analyses. And then I like to see a distinct plan of analysis section. So you'd have your intro, your review of the literature, your method, and your plan of analysis. Some people combine the plan and the method together. And if you do if that's how your advisor will ask you to do it, that's okay. Just make sure that it's very clear to me and distinct that this is now your plan of analysis. And what that means is, okay, you got this sample, you had them fill out your questionnaire or whatever. Now how are you going to analyze this? So that needs to lead back to your research questions. And if you're struggling with this and this isn't making sense to you, please go look at the samples that I have for you up in Blackboard, because those each have a plan. Well, the proposal itself has a plan of analysis. It's not the best plan of analysis I've ever seen. It got revised a great deal before I actually finished it up. But the ones that are written as a final write-up of a study, the plan of analysis is simply the results before you have the results. So it's question 1 is this. Here's hypothesis 1 for that question. So let's say I'm interested in quality. I'm interested in teacher education related to quality. So I ask them all what their formal level of education is. I also ask them how many training hours they have each year. And then I assess for global quality using the Eckers. Let's just say that's what I've done. Well, research question 1 is formal level of education of teachers associated with global quality of the entire program. Hypothesis 1, teachers with higher levels of formal education will work in programs exhibiting higher global quality ratings. That's a hypothesis. And then how will I test that hypothesis? I'll tell what I'll do. A Pearson's product moment correlation will be computed with teachers' level of formal education and global quality scores. You know, because you've already explained to me how you're getting those in your method section. A correlation of point whatever you decide, and your book helps you figure out which ones are good, but correlation significant at 0.05 will provide evidence for this hypothesis. Okay? Next thing, hypothesis 2. Teachers with more informal training hours will work in programs with higher levels of quality. And I might do the same type of analysis. So if that can kind of help you see, I have given my methodology, which is how I'm going to get everything, how my sample, my procedure, the instruments I will use, and how I will operationalize. What are my independent variables, and where do I get those from? Item 3 on the questionnaire, where I ask what your formal education level is. That is how I'm going to operationalize formal education. It's a categorical variable, etc., etc. And then how do I get my dependent variables, and what are those? What am I measuring? And then what are my questions? How am I answering my questions? And what are the hypotheses under that question?